New York City, March 2001. Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. A community center gymnasium in Lower Manhattan, 40 wooden folding chairs arranged in a semicircle, 43 people sitting, mix of ages, teenagers to middle-aged, all here for one reason. Marty Reisman is teaching, a banner hanging from the basketball hoop, hand-painted letters. Table tennis masterclass with Marty Reisman. $50 admission, worth it to learn from a legend, or so everyone hopes. Marty stands at the front, 70 years old, white hair, wire-frame glasses, wearing a white-collared shirt and dark slacks, his signature paddle in a bag at his feet. He looks smaller than people expected, frailer, decades of competitive play visible in the way he stands, careful, economical with movement, every motion deliberate, but his eyes are sharp, scanning the room, reading people, a skill developed over 50 years of competitive ping pong, the ability to see what opponents are thinking before they know themselves. He starts with basics, grip, stance, footwork, the fundamentals most people ignore because they're boring, because they want the flashy techniques, the secret serves, the trick shots that win matches. Marty knows this, knows what people came for, but he teaches what they need instead of what they want. After 30 minutes, he demonstrates serves, different spins, variations. The students watch carefully, taking notes, recording on phones, trying to capture the exact wrist angle, the precise contact point, believing if they can copy his technique exactly, they'll play like him. Marty sees this, says nothing, just demonstrates, explains the physics, the mechanics, but doesn't give them the shortcut they're searching for, because there isn't one. At 3 p.m., Marty opens the floor for questions. Hands shoot up immediately. 40 people with questions, technical questions mostly. How do you handle side spin serves? What's the best rubber for aggressive play? How do you beat a defensive player? Marty answers each one, patient, thorough, explaining not just the what, but the why, teaching them to think like players instead of mimicking techniques. Then a hand goes up in the back. Young man, maybe 19, college sweatshirt, messy hair, eager face, the kind of young player who discovered ping pong recently and fell in love hard, the kind who wants to be great immediately. Marty nods at him. Yes, your question. The young man stands, nervous. My name's Jake. I've been playing for 2 years. I practice 3 hours a day. I watch videos, I study professionals, but I'm not improving as fast as I want. Everyone says you're the greatest. So I want to know, what's the secret? What's the one thing that made you better than everyone else? The room goes silent. This is what everyone wanted to ask but didn't. The real question. Not about technique, about greatness, about the shortcut to mastery. Marty looks at Jake for a long moment, doesn't answer immediately, just looks, reading him, seeing the impatience, the desire for a magic answer, the belief that somewhere, hidden in all the practice and training, there's a secret, a trick, a shortcut that separates the good from the great. The silence extends. 10 seconds, 20, people shift in their seats, uncomfortable, waiting. Finally, Marty speaks. What's the secret? Yes, Jake says, the one thing that made the biggest difference. Marty nods slowly. There is no secret. That's the secret. Confusion ripples through the room, murmurs, people looking at each other. That's not an answer. That's a riddle. A non-answer. Jake looks disappointed. I mean, there has to be something, some technique, some training method, some way you approach the game differently. There isn't, Marty says, flat, direct, no philosophical mystery, just truth. Everyone wants one trick, one technique, one thing they can learn that will make them great. It doesn't exist, never has, never will. More murmurs. People came for secrets, for insider knowledge, for the hidden wisdom that only legends possess. And Marty is telling them there's nothing. But Marty isn't finished. You want to know what made me good? I can tell you, but you won't like the answer. Nobody does. The room quiets again. Listening. 30,000 hours of practice, Marty says. Minimum, probably more. I started playing at 15, played every day for 55 years, some days 2 hours, some days 12. Averaged out probably 6 hours a day for 55 years. That's 120,000 hours. But the first 90,000 were learning, making mistakes, building foundations. The real skill came in the last 30,000. He pauses. Lets that sink in. 10,000 matches, maybe more, against beginners, intermediates, professionals, champions, every level, every style, every type of player. Some matches I won easily, some I barely won, some I lost badly. But every single match taught me something. 10,000 lessons, no shortcuts. Jake is listening but looks skeptical. Like, this can't be the whole answer. 500 losses I actually learned from, Marty continues. Not just losses I accepted, losses I studied, analyzed, understood why I lost, what I did wrong, what my opponent did right. Most people lose and make excuses. Weather was wrong, paddle felt off, had a bad day. 500 times I lost and refused excuses, just learned. Marty's voice is steady, not emotional, just stating facts. 40 years of showing up, not when I felt like it, not when conditions were perfect. Every day, tired or energized, motivated or bored, injured or healthy, winning streak or losing streak, I showed up, picked up the paddle, played. 40 years of that, no days off, no vacations from practice, just consistent, relentless showing up. The room is dead silent now. This isn't what anyone expected. No secret serve, no magic paddle grip, no psychological trick, just work. Enormous, grinding, decades-long work. That's the secret everyone wants to hear? Someone asks from the middle row. Sounds disappointed. No, Marty says. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. People want secrets because secrets are easy. Learn one trick and suddenly you're great. Doesn't work like that. Never has. Greatness is just average work repeated until it becomes exceptional through sheer volume. Jake raises his hand again. But there has to be something else. Some people practice that much and never get as good as you. So what's the difference? Marty considers this. Fair question. Yes. Not everyone who practices 30,000 hours becomes great, but everyone who becomes great practices 30,000 hours. That's the floor, not the ceiling. You asked for the secret. That's it. Everything else is details. Another hand goes up. Woman in her 30s. What kind of details? Intelligent practice, Marty says. Not just hitting balls, analyzing every shot, understanding why it worked or didn't, adjusting, learning. Most people practice the same mistakes for years. I practiced corrections for years. Big difference. Adaptation, he continues. Every opponent is different. Every environment is different. Every day your body feels different. Champions adapt. Average players complain about conditions. I learned to play well in perfect conditions and terrible conditions. Hot gyms, cold gyms, good tables, warped tables, focused crowds, drunk crowds, didn't matter. Adapted to everything. Mental resilience, Marty says. Losing streaks, bad calls, injuries, debt, personal problems. Life doesn't stop because you have a match. Champions play through everything. I played great matches while broke, while injured, while dealing with personal crisis. The game doesn't care about your problems. Neither do opponents. You show up ready or you lose. He's building now. The wisdom of 55 years condensing into minutes. Humility. I lost my first 87 matches against average players when I was 17. Lost to a man in his 40s who taught me that talent without humility is fragile. Never forgot that. Respected every opponent after that. Prepared for every match. Never assumed I'd win. That humility kept me sharp for 50 years. Study. I watched everyone, not just champions. Everyone. Because everyone knows something. Even a beginner might have one shot, one angle, one approach worth learning. I stole techniques from hundreds of players, incorporated them into my game, became a composite of everything I observed. Obsession, Not healthy obsession, real obsession, the kind that costs relationships, costs money, costs normal life. I chose ping pong over everything else, over stability, over comfort, over conventional success. That's not advice. That's just what happened. Obsession isn't good or bad. It just is. And mine was ping pong. The room is processing. This is heavier than expected, deeper, not a fun seminar about trick serves, a lesson about what greatness actually costs. Jake speaks again. So there's no fast way? No shortcut? None, Marty says, definitive. Anyone telling you there's a shortcut is lying or selling something, probably both. Mastery is time plus intelligent repetition, that's it. Boring answer, true answer. But everyone wants the shortcut, Marty continues. That's why gimmicks sell, why people buy expensive paddles thinking equipment makes them better, why they watch videos of professionals and think they can copy techniques without building foundations, why they plateau after a few years and blame everyone except themselves. He's not being cruel, just honest, brutally honest in the way only someone who lived it can be. You asked what's the secret, Marty says directly to Jake. The secret is there's no secret, just work, decades of work. Work when you're motivated, work when you're not, work when it's fun, work when it's boring, work when you're winning, work when you're losing, work until your hands know what your brain can't teach, work until the paddle feels like an extension of your arm, work until you can read opponents before they know what they're doing. That's the secret. Silence. Long, heavy silence. Someone in the front row speaks. That's discouraging. It's realistic, Marty responds. Discouraging is being told there's a shortcut, spending years searching for it and never finding it. What I'm telling you is, stop searching, start working. That's encouraging if you actually want to get better. Jake looks conflicted. Came for inspiration. Got hard truth. Not sure how to process it. Marty sees this. Let me ask you something, Jake. You said you practice 3 hours a day, 2 years. That's about 2,000 hours. You want to be great. That requires 30,000 hours. You've completed less than 7% of the minimum requirement, and you're asking why you're not improving fast enough? Jake doesn't answer. The question isn't what's the secret, Marty says. The question is, are you willing to do 28,000 more hours? Because that's what it takes. Not might take, takes. And even then, you might not be great. You'll definitely be good, might be very good. But greatness isn't guaranteed, just possible. After 30,000 hours, it's possible. Another student raises a hand. Why are you telling us this? Isn't it better to let people believe in shortcuts, keep them motivated? Marty shakes his head. False motivation is worse than no motivation. If you're motivated by belief in shortcuts, you quit when you realize shortcuts don't exist. If you're motivated by love of the game and willingness to work, you keep going. I'd rather have 10 students with realistic expectations than 50 students with delusions. He looks around the room. 43 faces, various reactions, some inspired, some discouraged, some thinking deeply, some already mentally checking out. Most of you won't do the work, Marty says, matter of fact, not judgmental, just observational. That's fine. Ping pong is a game. It's supposed to be fun. You don't have to be great to enjoy it. Most people shouldn't be great. Being great costs too much, requires sacrifices most people shouldn't make. I'm not recommending my path. I'm just explaining what it was. The seminar continues. More technique demonstration, more Q&A. But the energy is different now, heavier. The truth has weight. When it ends at 4:30, people file out. Some approach Marty to thank him. Some leave quickly, disappointed or thinking or both. Jake lingers, waits until almost everyone is gone. Approaches Marty hesitantly. I'm sorry if my question seemed stupid, Jake says. It wasn't stupid, Marty replies. Everyone asks it eventually. The ones who keep playing after hearing the answer are the ones who might make it. So you really think there's no shortcut? Nothing that can accelerate learning? Intelligent practice accelerates learning, Marty says. Good coaching accelerates learning. But those don't replace hours. They make hours more efficient. You still need the hours, all of them. Jake nods, thinking. I guess I wanted to hear something else. Everyone does. That's why so few people become great. They stop when they realize it's just work. Years and years and years of work. Nothing magical about it. That's the part that scares people, the simplicity. If it was complicated, people could fail and say, too hard to figure out. But it's simple, just work. So failure means you didn't work enough. That's uncomfortable. Are you saying I should quit? Jake asks. I'm saying you should decide why you're playing. If you're playing to become the greatest player who ever lived, you probably won't make it. Too much competition, too many variables. But if you're playing because you love the game and want to see how good you can become through dedicated practice, you'll definitely succeed at that. Different goal. Achievable goal. Jake thanks him. Leaves. Marty packs his paddle, leaves the gymnasium, takes the subway home. Another seminar done. Another group of students who asked for secrets and got work. 1 year passes. March 2002. Marty is teaching another seminar. Different location, same city, 40 new students, same questions about techniques and strategies. Near the end, Marty recognizes someone in the crowd. Jake, now 20, longer hair, different energy, calmer, less impatient. During the break, Jake approaches. Mr. Reisman, remember me? I asked about secrets last year. Marty nods. I remember. You were disappointed with the answer. I was, Jake admits. Went home frustrated. But then I thought about it. Decided to test what you said. For the past year, I practiced 5 hours a day. Didn't look for shortcuts. Just worked. Analyzed my mistakes. Played against better players. Lost a lot. Learned from losses. And, Marty asks, and I'm better. Significantly better. Not great. Not anywhere close. But measurably improved. I can beat players I couldn't touch a year ago. I can see patterns I couldn't see before. My hands react before my brain decides. It's happening. Slowly. But it's happening. Marty smiles slightly. Rare expression for him. Then you learned the secret. That there's no secret, Jake says. Just work. Right. I calculated the hours. 5 hours a day for 1 year is about 1,800 hours. You said 30,000 minimum. I've done 6%. Still have 94% to go. That's at least 15 more years at this pace. Maybe 20. Yes, Marty confirms. That's terrifying and encouraging at the same time, Jake says. Terrifying because it's so long. Encouraging because I know what I need to do. No mystery, no searching for secrets. Just practice intelligently for 15 more years. Exactly. Will I be great? Jake asks. I don't know, but you'll be good. And you'll know you did everything you could. That matters. They talk for a few more minutes. Then Jake returns to his seat. The seminar continues. Afterward, Marty thinks about Jake, about the question, about all the students over the decades who asked the same question. What's the secret? Most never came back. Disappointed there was no trick, no shortcut, no magic technique that would make them instantly better. They drifted away. Found other hobbies, other pursuits, ones where they could believe in shortcuts. But some came back, like Jake. The ones who heard 30,000 hours and instead of quitting, started counting, started working, started the long, slow, unglamorous journey toward mastery. Those were the ones who made it, not all the way to greatness. Most fell short of that, but to competence, to skill, to the satisfaction of knowing they built something through patient, persistent effort. Marty himself never considered himself great, not in the way students imagined. He was skilled, experienced, dedicated, but great felt like a word other people used. He just played, every day, for 55 years. And that consistency, that showing up, became his greatest achievement. Not the wins, not the money, not the reputation, just the fact that he kept showing up. The secret everyone wanted was just commitment wearing the mask of mystery. The work everyone avoided was just time dressed up as talent. There never was a secret, just decades of ordinary effort repeated until it looked extraordinary. That's what Marty tried to tell every student who asked. Most didn't believe him. The few who did changed everything about their approach. And years later, some of them thanked him, not for teaching technique, for teaching patience, for teaching truth, for refusing to lie about shortcuts that didn't exist. Marty Reisman was 70 years old when Jake asked the question. The answer hadn't changed since Marty was 15, and it wouldn't change when he turned 80 or 90 or beyond. The secret was always the same. There was no secret, just work. Enormous, patient, decades-long work. Everything else was marketing.